Hi, Leo. Welcome to your December 2020 reading. Leo, I normally read for the sign of Virgo, and occasionally I get requests of read, you know, for other signs. And this month, your sign has come up. So I want to tell you that I'm super excited to be here and be able to provide all of those messages that can help you find the clarity that you are seeking. I want you to know that I normally use numerology to connect with your vibration. So I have developed my own personal style and how to read the cards. And as you will see, I use more than one oracle. And through the numbers, I am able to connect with the messages that the oracle is giving you. I want to thank you for being here too. Whether this is your first time or not, I want you to know that I appreciate you. And I hope that we can continue to keep this connection going. So let's begin, Leo. So as you can see, we have the number 37 talking about timeout, number 8 talking about manifestation, and number 56 talking about relationship change. Now, these numbers are going to change when I start using my astrological deck because it doesn't contain the same numbers as my numerology deck. So I'm going to have to add these numbers. So for those of you who like to play the lottery, you can also use the number 10, 1, 8, 11, and 2. Okay? All right, so let's begin with the number 37. So 37 in astrology is being represented by Capricorn. It's the 10th astrological house, and Aries. In Tarot, using the major arcanas, is represented by the Wheel of Fortune and the Magician. All right, Leo. So looking at these cards right away, I can see that you're going through a cycle that is very creative. Okay, so there's a lot of creativity that is then creating an expansion. Now, this is what you need to keep in mind, that Leo, you are the embodiment of the energy of the sun, which represents creativity, represents clarity and expansion. So this is one of those times where you may be paying more attention to the things that you create, how you go about obtaining those things, which is represented by the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune represents all of our wealth as well as our prosperity and abundance. So it's not just the card that talks about getting money or getting surprises. No, it's actually the card that represents all the possible ways in which we can obtain fortune. Okay? In the physical reality, of course. The Magician card is the creative aspects of ourself that allow us to go after our fortune. Okay? So the Magician represents our ideas or inspiration, the emotions, how we feel about those ideas, the concepts and definitions that we create as we are going after what we want, and the end result, how we materialize and finally manifest the things that we want. So as you can see, Leo, this is one of those moments where you are focusing in your understanding of fortune. And of course, this is where for each one of you is going to be different. It's going to be based on your personal desires, what you understand your reality to be, the meaning behind those things that you want. And this is what I want to remind you, Leo, that right now our planet is going through a shift. This shift began around 2012. So in this shift, we're thinking differently. The things that we felt before, in the way we created our definitions and we created our experiences during this shift, is changing that. So I would say that the old way of thinking was the old model of conduct. It represented our old model of conduct. With what we know today, is developing a new model, which is very different than the one before. So, for example, before we were taught that in order to have our fortune, we had to work really hard. And that abundance and wealth didn't come, wasn't there available to everyone. That it was only good to some people. So as you can see, the energy of abundance was limited to the idea that only a few people were lucky enough to enjoy that. In the meantime, the rest of us had to work really hard, hoping that maybe one day we would realize that we would succeed in attaining our fortune. In the new model of conduct, we're understanding that we're creators. That we're not only creating art, that we're not only using our imagination to create art, that we're actually using our imagination to create all of our life experiences. Every inspiration that we get, Leo, it's like an idea that in the way you water that idea would ultimately be materialized. So that changes a lot our perspective. Because in the old model, we had to use a lot of our energy, a lot of our vital force, trying to get somewhere. But if we didn't feel capable or worthy of attaining that, we could spend a whole lifetime working hard and not get what we wanted. In the new model, you're being reminded that vibration is everything. You live in a reality that is made of different energies, and you yourself are made of different energies. And the way you feel about the things you want is what create the right frequency, where eventually you will attract what you want. So you can see right away this is very different, and this requires a different type of effort, because one model of conduct is about creating the energy of what you want before you get it. And in the old model is work hard, work, find the strategies, follow this method, follow this other method. Don't pay attention to how you feel, pay more attention to what you think. And in this moment of shift, as we're becoming aware of who we are, and as we're having so much information, because this is the era of information. Technology has made that possible. But it is entirely up to us if we want to take advantage of this time. And this is where some people are and some people aren't. So this is one of those moments where it's not really a responsibility to figure out why some people want it and some people don't. It's more about what you're going to do, what you're feeling inspired to do. So I feel like this creativity or that that you're having, it's based on this desire to have a different point of view or to take a different path when it comes to finding your fortune. Maybe before, the concepts and definitions that you had was because people that have wealth, they seem to be happy, and it seems that it's easier for them to attain all the things that are available here in this physical reality. They could enjoy that. And looking from the outside, those of us who do not have those things, we have been programmed to think that we would feel better if we were to have the same things. So in a way, we've been programmed with ideas that we believed that just as it would work for someone, it would work for us. And trying to do the same that other people are doing, all this has done is made us unhappy. With the new model, we're understanding that we have a built-in mechanism that guides us and, knows what's the best direction to take. And it is the frequency that we vibrate as we're going after our dreams that determines what you're going to attract. So as you can see, this magician represents a lot because it's in aspects of ourselves that we need to know, and we need to know it well. Now, in this moment, Leo, depending on where you're at in your life, depending on how realized you feel, okay? There's a desire here, desire for change, and we're all going through this, okay? We're all going through this because we're going through the shift. And maybe some people are ahead of us, maybe some people are not, but we're going through this. Now, in your case, depending on where you're at, depending on what you're looking at, because you may be right now looking at a situation in a relationship that's fell apart, and you may not be feeling very good. In the old model, if we were not able to succeed with what we wanted, we would feel unworthy, not good enough. We would start, judging. And we would use all of these things or habits just to hopefully feel better, not realizing how we were tying down our vital force. Because remember, it takes a lots of energy when we are working with low frequencies. When we are using concepts of unworthiness, it makes us weaker and it makes us confused. Our body doesn't have enough energy to keep all the different systems working and functioning efficiently. So it's like we're lowering the amount of electricity that our body needs to function. When we are using concepts that makes us feel good and is more in alignment with the things we want to attain in a positive way, we're flying. We're flying. We're flying. So this is one of those moments where you need to determine where you're at. How are you feeling about whatever is happening in your life? And as I said, it could be about a relationship that fell apart, or it could be a job that is no longer there, or it could be that you have a lot of physical stability and yet you don't feel content. So here Spirit is saying, whatever situation you find yourself at, one of the things that you need to do as you are reflecting about the things that you consider your fortune is to let go of the old. And this is where Scorpio comes in with the energy of the 8. Okay? In Tarot, the 8 is represented by the Strength card. So here you're being guided to release the old, to release the stories, to release the judgment, to release the old model of conduct. So as you are becoming aware of new ideas, new concepts, as you're becoming aware how it is that so many other people are shifting, you will shift too. And although you may not see it all, and although things may not make sense to you, this is a time of creativity. And Leos, you guys are the embodiment of that. You embody that energy. So this is one of those moments where you're going to have to take a risk. And it is not by doing the same things you did before or using the same attitude that you used before. It's about liberating yourself from all of those stories, all of those memories. As a result, you will regain your strength. You will regain that energy that you were using so much to, keep feeding those definitions, those concepts. And when you liberate that energy, instantly you change your vibration. Instantly. Now the question here is, how can I maintain that energy? How can I just one moment feel like, oh my God, things are going to be okay, but as soon as I turn around and I'm hearing somebody else say what they need to say about our reality, that now I'm going to bounce back into the old fears and the old limited perspectives. And this is where the next card comes in, 56. And 56 here talks about relationship change. And remember that the number one relationship that needs to change in our lives is the relationship that we have with ourselves. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It's how we feel with ourselves when we're going after our dreams. The definitions that we have about ourselves when we want to do something. The struggles that we create within us. Because there's one side that wants this while the other side is saying, you can do better. And it doesn't matter how much you do, that we will never be better. And this is where you have to recognize the behavior of your mind versus your heart. In the old model, we use the mind, the logic. We analyze things. We could not trust our emotions. In the new model, your emotions can tell you right away if what you're thinking is the right thing for you or not. If the environment that you're in is the right environment or not. Your emotional system is your guiding system that works 10 times better than your head. And it's the one that tells you that whatever you're thinking is not right, because you feel it right away. When you're not feeling good, Leo, you know that whatever thoughts you got going on are not good. And when you're not feeling good, your system of fight or flight right away turns on. And that's not a moment to think about the things I want to have. That's a moment to run for your life and protect yourself. And when you are running because you don't feel safe, you cannot pay attention to, what to do or how to go about your fortune. There's no clarity. So with 56, we have Aquarius, the astrological house, number 11, and we have Taurus. Now, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, the awakener, and by Saturn, the controller. I see Saturn as a control freak. It seems that way anyways. It's not always bad. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Ooh, Venus, the goddess of love. Now, we know now, Leo, that love is not only the love that we use here on earth to feel passion for our partners or to love our kids. That love is the energy that makes atoms come together. Love is the energy that creates our reality and that is part of existence. Your cells, what makes them work, the atoms that make your cells, the reason why they're together is because of this energy of love. So we can say then that love contains information, and love also has prosperity. So when we look at Uranus right now, in this cycle for you, Uranus is going to help you awaken. It's going to help you break free from the bondage or the chains that keep holding you back. So don't be surprised if you will have aha moments. Moments where you're like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. Or, oh my God, I just can't believe that now I know things that I couldn't before. It's like removing the veils that have interfered with the way you have perceived your reality. Now at the same time, you have Saturn. So in a way, this is a very interesting time for you, Leo, because as I said, there is this desire to create, but to change your approach. And as you're looking at your life and you're looking at your habits and the definitions that you're holding, this is looking at Saturn. You're feeling this strong desire to break through and to, go beyond your comfort zone and stop doing the same thing you have done for a long time, or dealing with the same people that you have dealt with this, for a long time. And these emotions happen little by little in some people, in some cases, especially for you, Leo. But it can also happen as a buildup where all of a sudden you explode. And knowing how to direct this energy is essential, especially in this time where we're having configurations, very different configurations from celestial bodies that are going to set the groundwork for the time to come. So just feeling frustrated, angry, because all of a sudden you realize how you've been manipulated or deceived is not enough. Not in this moment. I mean, you can, and I'm not saying that don't give you an opportunity to feel that way. However, that's a buildup of energy, of the vital force within you that needs to be directed in a more creative way. So this is one of those moments where using your imagination like you were a little kid would be very, very helpful, especially in this new moon of today. You know, we're going to have a solar eclipse and a new moon. Perfect opportunity to get carried away and to be very creative. You know, and I'm saying carried away in your mind, okay? In your imagination. So as you can see, you know, Saturn, although it's showing you the pattern of behaviors that you've used up to now, it also will ask you, well, now with these new concepts and ideas, what are you going to do? How are you going to put them into practice? Okay? Taurus, we know, is the house that represents our family environment and is ruled by Venus. So this is one of those moments where you can unite and start working with the energy of love, an energy that, as I said, is very unifying. It's very satisfying because it brings things together into your life a lot easier, a lot faster. And finding this level of clarity in Tarot is represented by the Justice card, and Taurus is represented by the High Priestess. So as you could see, we don't need the same memories of unworthiness and judgment to move or to operate in this new reality, in this new model of conduct. Because it's a lot easier to follow our instincts. It's a lot easier to follow our intuition. And these are quality of the feminine side. And that feminine side is within us, men and women. This feminine side is represented by the moon, by Mother Nature, by the cycles of our emotions. And when you pay attention to how this energy behave, you can see that the feminine side is the aspect in each one of us that help us water our seeds. We get an idea that feels good, right? The feeling good about it is your feminine side. So your feeling mechanism is part of this feminine energy. What gives you the inspiration to water that seed is your feminine side. And keeping true through your instincts and intuition, following those instincts and intuition as you're going after your fortune is also part of this feminine side. And you could see, Leo, like with the moon, for example, you know, there are aspects of the moon that we can see and we participate, and there's other aspects that we don't. It's just like when we plant a seed. You know, we plant the seed, we choose the seed, we plant it, and we water it. And then there's an aspect of that process that it requires faith. Letting the universe do the rest. Letting that vital force that is in everything do the rest. And honoring the same process when you're going after your manifestation is also important. And while we wait for the universe to do the rest, all we really need to be concerned about is maintaining our frequency, maintaining our trust and our faith that things will happen when the synchronicities fall in place, and wham, we got it. We're there. In the old model, when we are watering the plants, we are questioning whether this plant is going to grow or not. And before, if it takes too long, we start then questioning our worthiness. Am I going to get this? And before we know it, we're so twisted and confused with all the insecurities that now the energy that we're projecting onto that plant is full of negativity. And then we reason, right? And we make up excuses so that we can feel better and so that we can tell the world that, I'm okay. I just was not lucky enough. So we can see, right, why here, it's so important to address the Scorpion energy, okay? Because, we have this huge taboo about death. When death is something that it does not exist, energy cannot be destroyed. But to be able to enjoy the new and the better, we have to let go of the old. We have to create that space. A lot of times we want the new, bringing all the old with us. And what we don't get is that your beliefs and definitions is the foundation of all of the experiences that you create. So if you're bringing all of that garbage into the present while you're trying to attain this new fortune, how the hell are you going to get it? It's impossible. You're going to get something else. And what you're going to get is the same thing you'll be getting time after time after time. So now we can see that this Wheel of Fortune doesn't only talk about fortune, it also talks about the wheel of karma. And it is not until we really understand the nature of our magician that we don't overcome that karma, that we don't get to create our fortune. So this is one of those times, Leo, where you might have become aware of this, or you might be in the process of becoming more aware of it, or you may will. And once again, whatever you find your way, just know that change sometimes is difficult. Not necessarily because we're not willing to change. Sometimes it's because we don't know what type of habits we're going to create or how consistent and determined we're going to be. So this is when your ancestors are saying, you're going to have to be fearless. Fearless and stand strong. And this is one of those moments where, remove the doubt. And don't look back. Remove the doubt and don't look back. Don't look back. As you finally decide to conscientiously let go of the old, the feminine energy will transform a lot of your definitions. And remember, this is an energy that works on instincts, intuition, inner knowing. And sometimes we cannot explain that energy. We just know. I have to do this because I know. I cannot explain it to you. I don't understand what, but I know that I have to do it. And that's what this feminine energy is about. And then your magician will assist you to direct your energy more efficiently in those things that you desire. So we're moving towards 2021, and there's many other things that are going to fall apart. in our environment. And they need to. Just like there are many things that in your life are going to fall apart because they need to. Because you're not the same person, you're not holding the same frequency, you live in an environment that doesn't have the same frequency either. So it's natural. And if you're more hopeful about your future in the present, you'll be fine. So this is one of those moments where we need to draw our power from within. We need to pay more attention to how we feel than what is happening around us. And sometimes that can be challenging because for many eons, we've been more distracted by what happens outside ourselves than what is happening within us. And there are many people that don't know the difference between their mind or their head and their heart. But ultimately, I see here in your reading that the sun comes out. So for those of you who stand strong in this path and decide to follow through, and if you decide to take these messages, well, good for you, because the sun will come out. And this is the card that represents you. And this is where Spirit wants to remind you, Leo, that you're a very powerful energy. But without the moon, you're nothing. Without the ability to water those ideas, to nurture them the proper way, you don't have the child. You don't have the end product. Without this, knowing of your high priestess, you don't get to create magic in your life. Because a lot of the things that we attract in our life, when we use our magic, it happens sometimes in an incredible way. It's like miracle after miracle. And that's what most of us who are already following this new way of doing things are noticing. So I hope this helps, Leo. I wish you the best of luck, my friends. Don't forget to set some new guidelines or intentions and prepare yourself for the 21st, the winter solstice. We're going to have more energy available to us, and we need to help our bodies. We need to prepare our bodies for these changes in frequency. So there's going to be a lot of discomfort if we're not doing the things that we need to do in order to make our body more flexible. So I want to wish you a Merry Christmas to all of you and a Happy New Year. May your 2021 be filled with blessings, love, and health.